All right, let's see. Good morning, Anambra, and time for our discussion. It is the joy of every parent to have a child or children, as the case may be. It is equally expected that these precious gifts will be well taken care of and accounted for. During our growing up years, our parents are always there to checkmate our excesses, but a lot has changed over the years, where most times some parents are either one is not there for these children. And if you may think that these children don't mind or they don't feel your absence when you're not there, well, let's take a look at the clip we're going to watch right now and see how she feels about one of the parents not being there. We'll be right back to...
You see that so many daddies don't like to stay at home. You go out very, very early in the morning before the children wakes up from sleep. I'll come back after the children has already slept off. Is it good? Is it good? That's why so many children, they don't watch television with their daddy. They cannot eat with their daddy. They cannot play with their daddy. They cannot have fun life with their daddy. It's just as if they don't have daddies again. No. It's just as if. Because, listen to me, if you behave like that, you're not more a daddy again, you are uncle. You are uncle, because that's how uncle behave. And the only thing that they used to see with that, and the only thing that is in pictures. Only in pictures. Only. And the same daddies will be going out in the midnight. In the midnight though, to go and be watching football match. You'll be watching football match. Football match, and you will now start warning their wife and children. Don't go outside though. In the night, it's very dangerous. Don't go out in the night. What of you yourself? I'm supposed to be going out in the night. It's as if you're stronger than all those kidnappers. Are you? Please, Daddy. Don't be coming back late in the night, please. Always have fun with your children, please.
All right, you've seen the clips. Let's get back to work right now. We have in the studio Mrs. Ife Obiekwe, a counselor and the president, UCAN Foundation, to help us look at this problem. You're welcome to the studio, ma.
Thank you, ma.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Of course, you saw the video. We're talking about the challenges of absentee parenting.
Exactly.
Well, let's start from the video.
Yes, your reaction, towards that video made by that little girl.
Yeah. She said, all she said was just true. Because this is what is exactly happening, especially with the men, with fathers, like she said. Even the mothers, because when we look at parents who are absentee parents, we're not just looking at people who are physically there. There are two dimensions to this absenteeism. Okay? There are people who are physically there, but they are not there emotionally with the kids. They are not there that's why she was complaining of playing. They are not there emotionally, but they are physically there. They are there morning till night, but they are not there in their child's life. And then we have another category of parents who are not even there. They are like they've abandoned those kids. Okay? So I think in her own case, the parents are there. Maybe the mother is physically there. But the father's absence is so serious, which is what is common amongst us in homes today. I think it's a habit a lot of husbands and fathers had formed over time. So they just leave the home so early before the kids are awake and come back so late when they are all gone to bed. And this child is pouring out her anger. to what
I can
parents?
actually see the most one of the amazing things I actually saw in that video was she did the recording herself. Where you can actually see she fixed the phone in front of her. She did the recording, and you begin to ask yourself, a young girl at that age, where is this coming from?
Yeah. That's when we talk of parenting in this 21st century, I always tell people that things have changed over time. When we were growing up, for instance, we believed every lie our parents told us. And that's why, while growing up, you will agree with me that all our parents came first, didn't they? Most. Yes. Most of our parents came first, even those who never went to school. They came first. Yeah. And we believed it until long time later. So, today, parenting is quite different. The children of today are so knowledgeable and well-informed that I tell parents, when you lie to them, in a few seconds, they get to know you are telling lies. You've lost it. Sure. You've lost it. Because they don't swallow hook, line, and sinker, whatever you say. They have access to information. That's what this young girl has. Access to information. And with the access to information, she's able to know that she can actually video this thing and put it on the internet.
And you talk about the boldness, with which she did this thing, talking as she felt,
exactly,
to the father. Now, when I was beginning, I said something about during our growing up days, that most of our parents are, even the ones that does one or two things, they have it very close to their home, But these days, a lot have changed over years. Ideally, what are we expected to see when it comes to parenting? What I mean is whether both parents are supposed to be there at all times, or one can be there and the other can go anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Let's see the ideal situation.
All right, I think the ideal situation is that both are there. Okay. When we say both are there, doesn't mean you should sit all through, no work or whatever. I mean, we need source of income. But beyond the provision of food, shelter, and clothing for the children, they've got emotions. They've got needs. They've got needs, which I have categorized into 5 of them. They've got needs. And those needs need to be, met. So the parents, ideally, should meet those needs. When we talk of emotional needs, for instance, the need to be affirmed. You have to be there to affirm them so that their esteem will be developed properly. When you are not there, other things will affirm them, and you will agree with me negatively. That's why today we see young people committing suicide. Okay? That's why we see today young people being sexually abused, because nobody is there to listen to them, to hear them out, to affirm them. Yeah.
Now, I'm actually going to come more on the side of men. I know when we talk about parenting, we're talking about the man and the woman. But we know lately it's becoming a norm now in, will I say Nigeria or Africa or the world in general, when we talk about single parenting, it's becoming a norm. But let's look at it critically. A research was actually done over 21 countries, and it showed that the fatherlessness was identified as the biggest problem. That's fathers not being a part of the family, and of course, being there for the kids. Where do we go from here?
I think, like I always tell people, we need to be intentional about this parenting thing, especially in this era. We need to be intentional, especially for fathers. Fathers must come to realize that they have to be intentional about this thing. They must make up their mind to feature in the child's life, if you want to feature in that child's future. I do radio programs, and I hear fathers calling and say, I've lost my teenager, I can't talk to him, he doesn't listen, he's a drunk, he's into cultism, that's the effect of not being available in that child's life. Okay? So, when we talk of your availability, it doesn't have to say, don't go to work. Go to work, but make sure you create time to spend with these children. Create time to listen to them. Create time to discover who they are. Check out their temperament. Come to understand the philosophy in which they are growing in today. In our own time, we couldn't have done this thing this little girl did. The philosophy today is quite different. Children are bold enough. They can go ahead. Some of them are even on Facebook. Some of them are on Instagram. Some of them are looking for identity there because their parents are no longer available to, give them that sense of belonging. So, fathers must be deliberate too. They shouldn't sit back and say, mothers should take. No. We need, it's a joint effort. And in the case of single parenting, which is something that is common in this our time, I think this is actually very wrong. Unless in a case where maybe she's a widow. I mean, we can't. Yes, maybe she's a widow or something, whatever. But looking at it from the way some young girls are approaching it, they don't want to be under the control of any man like they claim or whatever. And they go get pregnant and try to raise the child all alone. I don't think it's right. We need the father's input. There's something the father...
All right. Now, there is something you said earlier about the needs of these children, while growing up. You said they are actually 5, and I think you've mentioned like their emotional needs. What are the other needs? Let's know, and of course, see how we can fill the gaps as parents.
All right. Every child needs someone to believe. Okay. Someone to believe. A role model. And that's why when parents are not there to be that primary role model, they look to television, for instance, and go ahead to get mentors from or role models from from the music industry. Okay, and that's where all the single parenting stuff comes in. Because when they now allow such people to mentor them, or look to them for mentorship, or look to them as role models, you will attest to it that most of these music stars, so to say, have got a lot of baby mamas, and so they need someone to believe. That's one of their basic needs, a role model. And parents should come in first. You should be your child's first mentor. Then they need something to believe. You need to give them something to look up to, something to believe, a future. Okay? They need to be affirmed. They need to know that they've got so much in them. Okay? They need to know that they can do this, even though something had happened or maybe they failed somewhere. It's an event that failed, not to them. They need something to look up to. Something. Then they need an aspiration to significance. They must know they matter. They must know they matter. They need somewhere to belong. A family, a community, a society. When they feel a sense of belonging, you get the best from that child. The child's esteem is, quite developed. And you will know that over time, this child will be able to have a healthy self-esteem. And for me, that affirms Genesis 1:18. Okay, 2:18, where the child is able to dominate. That mandate God gave to man and woman. And the Bible says, and he blessed them and says, we should go ahead and dominate. Take charge, multiply, replenish. You can't achieve this when your esteem is low. You can't dominate. So parents have a duty, which is a basic need in the child's life, to be affirmed to significant, to
all right, all right. The program is still Good Morning Anambra. We are looking at challenges of absentee parenting. Please, in case you're watching us, you have the opportunity to call us now and ask any question or make your own contribution on the issue being discussed. Now, Madam Ife, you can agree with me that in our society today we have a lot of moral decadence, and our young ones, most times they behave as it doesn't really matter, how I live my life, how I behave. But I know that back then, when somebody lives his or her life, he thinks of what people will say, the family where he comes from. Can we actually say that what we are seeing today is as a result of absentee parenting?
Yes, because I said it's in two dimensions. There are some parents who are physically there, but they are not there emotionally. They are not meeting the child's emotional well-being. And because we are human, there's no vacuum in life. What happens? We switch to other means. Okay? The child switches to other means, and we live in an age of information. And permit me to add communication. When you fail to communicate, that information the child gets, from there they begin to communicate. That's why they have friends online. They get, in fact, I tell people they are modern day parents now. So if you fail to, parenting is influence for me. So if you fail to influence your child, every other thing can influence the child. Okay, and the child begins to behave this way.
There's a big problem, and we know that when it comes to parenting, parents are the most important things in the children's life. And in as much as most times parents generally, they are filled with the anticipation about how their children's personality unfolds, most of them also lack the skills of taking care of those children. Most of them probably maybe want to do more and they don't know how to go about it. Now, the video talked about the young girl saying, why would the father be coming back late at night? Sometimes the father will leave to go watch a football match, leave very early in the morning, and she was asking, is it good? That why will he be doing that he should stop it? So what I want to know now, are there skills of taking care of those children?
Exactly. I said parenting now is intentional. It's not something you just wake up. Our parents may have parented us by default, but things have changed, especially with the introduction of this technological revolution where it comes to internet. So it has changed everything about parenting. And I always urge parents to go get information that will help you build up your skills. So I know there are few places to get such information, which is part of what I do. But there are other places like the church. The community should organize parenting trainings. Even the media can do something about it. Okay? Where they can have access to trainings that will help them know this is what is on ground today. I tell parents, well, growing up, we had two worlds to fight with. The spiritual world and the real world, which is the physical world. But today, there are three worlds. That's enough challenge. 3 worlds. And that third world is so strong that if you are not serious, you may blame yourself in later years. And that third world is the virtual world, which is the online world, where the child can live virtually online morning till night.
All right, sorry for want of time, please. We don't have much time, as a way of summary. Some people might tell you that the economy is not helping matters, that it could be the result of why some parents are not always there, chasing money. But ndị Igbo si na onye rapo igine nwan wee chụba nke nwa na oluzo both ways na ọ ga-adị njọ. Now, how do we balance it, so that we can actually make that money and, of course, look at the people that we are making the money for, strike a balance because of time. So
all right. I don't think it's all about the making money. Looking at the video, like you were saying, the young girl she's in anger because probably the father or fathers would have time to watch football. Would have time to chase women. Let me add that one. Will have time to go clubbing. Will have time to do other things, but they don't have time for them. It's not only about the chasing of the money. Some people, they don't chase money from morning till midnight, like she said. There's a time frame for the chasing of money. So I think it's about setting their priorities right. You could get a good job. It starts so early. You leave home as early as 6:30. Make sure you go wake the children up. That's why I said you have to learn it. Wake them up. Pray with them as maybe 5 a.m. You're already up with them. Pray with them before leaving by 6. Pray with them, even if it's for 5 minutes. Talk to them. Try to know their needs. When you come back, deliberately come back on time. Don't stop over at the beer parlor or stop over at a friend's place. Deliberately come back on time to be with them. Know their thing. What happened today in school? Blah, 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 blah. And then you'll be able to talk things over. Share your experiences with them. And I'm sure you don't work 365 days. There are days you are off. Use those days to spend beautiful time with them. Can take them out to eateries and then. Right.
We can go on and on. For want of time, this is where this program terminates. I would have loved us to go on, but time could only allow us this. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Obiekwe, for coming on the show. We appreciate your time all the way from Onitsha this early morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Interesting episode.